What's up, everybody? Just trying to continue staying busy. Going to go over some MMA news, some stuff we need to talk about, stuff that affects the upcoming card, affects some of the bets I posted on my last video on the upcoming card. Uh, yeah, just trying to keep getting my feet wet, get better at this. Put out some more content. I appreciate everybody who's watched and subscribed. Um, I'll get better. I know in my last video I had kind of a nervous habit of saying a lot, so I'll try to work on it. And I didn't even really listen to it back, and I didn't intend on going that far into that video. Really, I was just kind of winging it, which is me. I do it all and try to do it all in one take. So, but anyways, let's talk about a few things. So I hate having to start all my episodes or podcast out with this. There's a guy named Tanner Marlowe that passed away. He's an undefeated prospect. I believe he was 4-0. His last fight was in the LFA. If you don't watch the regional scene, you might not have heard of him, but he also fought for TWC, and I believe it was on Christmas Eve. He was involved in a double homicide, and he's only 30 years old. And from what I gathered, what I could put together, what little I could find out on it, basically he was hanging out with some chick, and her ex-boyfriend showed up, and they were both armed, and there was a shootout, and both of them died from their injuries, and the girl wasn't hurt. Um, yeah, it sucks, man. Crazy world we live in now. Uh, and weirdly enough, Stephan Bonner just passed away a few days before this, and they both share the same nickname, the American Psycho. I don't know, some weird coincidence there. But yeah, let's talk about some stuff on this card coming up, the Imavov versus Gastelum card. So basically, we lost our co-main event so far. Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal's out due to injury, and they didn't say what or what it was or anything. And which sucks because that was a fight I was looking forward to, probably the most on this card. And I also had a two-man parlay that I had talked about on my last video, the Imavov and Romanov parlay. It was like a minus 130, which is the best you could get with Shavkat Rakhmonov. He was like a minus 500. So hopefully they'll find an opponent for Romanov, and hopefully he'll still be able to fight on the card. Maybe I'll be able to get him at a better line against a new opponent. I just don't know if there's going to be a whole lot of people willing to step in, on short notice with him. There I go with the nose again. Um, but I mean, I would like to see Khamzat Chimaev step in if he can make the weight, but he couldn't even make the weight when he did have a full camp the last few times, so probably couldn't do it on short notice here, even though it is like 3 weeks or 2 weeks. But that would be a cool fight if they could put it together, but I doubt it. Seems like he's kind of looking up at 85 right now, 185. But yeah, on another note, we did lose another, not a whole fight. Omar Morales is out of his fight due to injury, and he was fighting Mateusz Rebecki. And I was actually going to take Morales in that spot. I don't know if I was going to put money on it yet, but I was going to give him a shot. And they've replaced him with Nick Foyer, and he's 6-0. 6-0, and I think he's kind of just jumping in on short notice, to get a shot at the big show. If you look at the people he's been fighting, I mean, yeah, he's been winning by finish, but the people, I mean, one of his opponents had a 15-98 record. So yeah, his competition hasn't been very high, and yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to take Rebecki on this one. I might even drop some money on it if I can get a good money line on it. If I can get him, minus 150 somewhere around there, I would definitely take Rebecki in this spot because he's a way better prospect than what I've seen with this guy. I watched a few of his fights. I mean, it's just I mean, he looked good, but if you look at the records of the people he's fighting, 5-19, 15-98. I mean, I can't go with that. I can't. You know, maybe he'll get a. He's just finding his way into the UFC and taking a good chance, and cool for him, to step up. But yeah, I got to take Rebecca on that one. What else do we have here? So also, um, probably heard about it. Antonio Bigfoot Silva is retiring finally. Way overdue. 43 years old. Um, he's got like 10 losses in a row at the end of his career, and I think almost all of them but one are by knockout, which is really sucks because he's a he's accomplished a lot in his career. It just sucks that he had to. I don't know if it's the case or not. I don't know if it's that he he needs the money and that's why he keeps putting himself through it. Or, maybe if he just didn't want to quit. But, I hate to see these fighters that have accomplished a lot in their career. He beat Fedor Emelianenko. He beat, Overeem. He beat Travis Brown at one point. And, it sucks that, he had to keep going on. And I just hope, maybe it isn't a money situation, but, I'd like to see, something set up to where these guys don't have to keep, damaging their brains until they're, mid 40s, getting knocked out over and over again just because they need a paycheck. Um, what else we got? Let's see here. See, we got Tatiana Suarez is coming back. I think she's been out for almost 4 years. Been battling a lot of injuries. Um, she's 8-0. She's had wins over like Carla Esparza, Nina Nunes, Alexa Grasso, a lot of good opponents. So if she comes back in good health and looking great, we might be, seeing her making some big strides and working towards a title. Um, Sarah McMahon, she's moving over to Bellator at featherweight, going up a weight class. Said they gave her an offer she couldn't refuse. Um, you know, a lot of them all say that. They tend to do that to people in the UFC when they get them to go over there. They make them an offer they can't refuse. And I mean, I guess it's a no-brainer, because they probably feel like they're going to have an easier chance to get a title. They think the easier competition's over there, which isn't always the case. I mean, at featherweight, she's going to have to fight Chris Cyborg to get a title right now, I believe. So, you know, good luck with that. She is a good wrestler, though, and she has a chance. And hey, I'm happy for her to get more money and everything. So that's pretty interesting. Good for her. Um, and also, this is another big one that I wanted to talk about here. Is this one? They announced Sean Brady versus Michelle Pereira. Um, Super good matchup, and I'm not really sure. I'm kind of torn. Who I'm going to take here, or who I would pick. I'm very familiar with all these guys. I mean, I've I think I've probably won money on a lot of these. That Michelle Pereira's last 5 fights or so, he would be on I think a 6 fight win streak if he hadn't had hit Diego Sanchez with that illegal knee. Let me check. Because he was winning that fight. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he would be on a 6 fight win streak if if that didn't happen. He was clearly winning that fight. Hit Diego with a illegal knee, and Diego kind of realized. He seemed like he was good. He kind of realized that if he said he couldn't continue, he would win. So of course he made the right decision because he didn't want to go out there and get beat up anymore. But the only really bad blemish on his record is this Tristan Connolly fight, and that was surprising, really. If with what you see now, how good Michelle Pereira is to be beat by Tristan Connolly, and Tristan Connolly hasn't looked too good lately, but he just used his wrestling and controlled him, and that's something Sean Brady could definitely do for sure. Sean Brady is a very decorated grappler, really good. That's his strongest skill set. So I don't know, man. If Michelle Pereira can dance around and stay away from Sean Brady, don't let him get him to the ground or grapple with him, he probably wins this fight. But I'm not sure who I'm going to take on it yet. It's going to be. I've got a little while to think on this. This isn't until March, so we've got a while, and it's in San Antonio, Texas. For those of y'all that don't know, I live in Fort Worth, Texas. Um, maybe I can get some tickets and go down there and watch it live. So what else did I have? Oh yeah. So they announced the other day that Jeff Molina is suspended right now, which really sucks because he's a good fighter, and I've won money with him too. I've been sticking with him. Uh, I've been sticking with him in all of his last few fights, and I don't know why I put James Molina on there. But yeah, he's really talented. He's been doing great. He's on a run right now. I think he's on a 3-fight win streak. Um, his excuse me, his last fight. Get some water. His last fight with Zalgas Zimagulov. I don't know if y'all remember that one. It's pretty close, and it arguably could have went to Zimagulov. I think Jeff Molina at the end of the fight actually thought he had lost when they were reading off the scorecards, and they said his name, and he was surprised. But man, he's been looking really good. He's really talented, really well rounded. And I guess he was supposed to fight Jimmy Flick on this upcoming card, and that's probably why it was canceled. And of course, I don't know if y'all have heard about the whole James Krause thing. I'm sure everybody knows about it, especially if you're watching this show and are into betting or my channel or anybody's betting channel. You know, um, James Krause is being accused of a lot of crazy stuff. Involved with fixing fights and everything else. And it was kind of a deal where they said that if any fighters train with him right now, they'll be suspended. They'll anybody that has anything to do with him, they shut his gym down or something, and all this crap. He's not allowed to coach any fighters or anything. And it might be a deal where Jeff Molina, I'm sure Jeff Molina's not involved in any of that stuff. So he probably just stuck with his coach. Somebody who's been doing good by him and coaching him through 3 wins, and maybe that's the reason. I hope that's the only reason, and hopefully he'll be back soon. And I don't really have an opinion on the whole James Krause thing. I think Derek Minner went out there with an injury, and maybe somebody knew about it, other than him, and maybe it got leaked out to somebody, and some people changed their bets or put some money, on Norman Beckhoff or whatever his name was he was fighting. Um, Norman Becky, that's who it was. Shylon Norman Becky, and I don't really have an opinion on that. I respect James Krause as a coach, and he's coached a lot of good fighters and has a good career. Had a good career. I don't know if he's totally done, fighting if all this goes away or whatever. I know he went out on a win. I think his last fight was with Trevin Giles or something. Uh, but I hate to see Jeff Molina's career being kind of sidelined due to hopefully it's all bullshit and James Krause is cleared of it all, but if it ain't, that sucks that his coach would, have such disregard for his, this young guy's career that's on a 3-fight win streak in the UFC that's just, on a on a road to greatness, and you tarnish his name, by doing some stupid shit. Uh, Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully he'll be back soon. So, um, also, there's rumors that I heard on a couple of websites about Jose Aldo maybe making a, a boxing run next year, making his debut in boxing, which is really interesting to me. And I think he'll do good. Most of these people who like Anderson Silva's doing good, and he been sorry, my dogs are barking. Um, he's been doing good in boxing and everything, and I like to see Aldo, boxing, and Conor McGregor's not really doing much. He's talking about trying to get boxing fights to people too. Mayweather. Maybe we could see Aldo and McGregor box down the road. That'd be interesting after the way their first fight went. See if I got anything else here. Talk about some. What do y'all think about the Khamzat Chimaev situation? Write it down in the comments, whatever. Let me know what you think. I respect him. I think he really is as good as everybody says he is. He's claiming that he's had 4 opponents and 4 of them, have all backed out and don't want to fight him. And Gilbert Burns was in an interview the other day saying that there's 2 people that have offered to fight him, both up at middleweight: Alex Pereira, the champ, and Paulo Costa. And they're saying that he doesn't want to fight them or whatever. But it could just all be talk back and forth. I'd like to see those fights. I'm curious, to see how that would go. I don't know if it would be as easy for Chimaev as he thinks it was, you know, but he definitely is as good as everybody says he is. He's great. I don't know if I see him. I don't know. I'd like to see him versus Usman. You know, um, that would tell me like really, where he's at, and because I don't know if he could. I don't know if he could take down Usman. Usman's pretty good. Isn't hasn't I don't know if anybody other than Leon Edwards has ever taken down Usman, and that was kind of like a mistake on Usman's part. Be interesting. Um, Trying to think of who Chimaev could. And I know he was supposed to fight Covington, and I guess Covington's one of the guys that backed out. I don't know. I know he was supposed to fight, and I think he was supposed to fight in. Was he supposed to fight in Brazil? Hell, I don't remember now. Um, Trying to think. Who could be up next for him at this point right now. I mean, who hasn't fought, and who's obviously the Edwards Usman thing is kind of like holding all that stuff up, but I would like to see him fight Shavkat Rakhmonov. They're pretty much on the same level as far as wins and everything, and yeah, I mean that could be a title eliminator at this point in my book. I mean, they're both so good. They've both shown out. Uh, or I'd like to see a rematch of Burns and Chimaev because I thought it was possible that Burns won that Chimaev fight, but it was close, and they were both beating the crap out of each other, and it was a crazy fight. So could have gone either way. Um, I guess one more thing. If I don't have anything else, sorry, I got notes all over the place. I'm trying to remember this stuff, and I was going to talk about a fighter, to kind of check out, just like a new guy that he's related to Justin Taffa, the UFC fighter. His name's Junior Taffa, and he's going to be fighting at Ryzen 40. He's only been a MMA pro MMA fighter for I think like 5 or 6 months. He's 3-0. I think they're all knockouts too. His wins. He's got a few kickboxing and Muay Thai fights. Before that, so he's got a little bit, experience. But I'm excited to see him and see if he's any good. He's a heavyweight fighter, just like Justin Taffa. Doesn't look like he's quite as big as him, if you know what I mean. But that's somebody to check out and look into and watch his fights. Check out Ryzen. It's a good show, man. They're doing a lot of cool stuff, and the stuff they're doing with Bellator on New Year's is pretty cool. Bellator versus Ryzen. That'd be cool if UFC would do stuff like that. Uh, and one more thing, and I read about this. See, I don't know a whole lot about boxing. I mean, I used to watch it all the time, but I kind of focus on MMA and like Muay Thai and stuff like that now, and grappling stuff. But I read this article about Vivian Obanoff, and she was convicted of murdering her husband, who was 61 years old. And apparently, in an argument, she hit him with a baseball bat 19 times and killed him. 19 times with a fucking baseball bat and killed him. 61-year-old guy. She's not that old. She was boxing just like a couple years ago or last year or something. And she somehow only got 16 years for this. That's cool, whatever. I don't really know much about the lady, or, I mean, it's a Switzerland court that did it. I don't know how they are over there. But, what drives me crazy about that is that, she only got 16 years for that. And I'm willing to bet that, they're going to try and give Cain Velasquez, 25 years for trying to kill a pedophile that deserved it. That's what bothers me about that, you know? Just a thought. But and also, I guess y'all probably heard about the Javante Davis deal. He got arrested for domestic violence. I think it was charged with assault, causing bodily harm, or something to that extent. He posted bail. I think it was yesterday, late yesterday afternoon. Just hoping it doesn't affect any of his fights coming up because he is really talented. I've watched a couple of his fights, and a lot of people are really high on him right now. And everybody was looking forward to his fight with Ryan Garcia coming up, and hopefully it doesn't affect that. Yeah, sorry about that, everybody. Had my girlfriend kicking the studio door on me. Uh, but yeah, Ryan Garcia and Javante Davis are supposed to fight coming up soon. Everybody's looking forward to it. Ryan Garcia is super talented too. Um, he's going to be fighting for that title against Davis as long as none of this trouble messes everything up for him. Um, And what else? See if there's anything else we can talk about on here. I think if there were any other announcements that they made recently that was coming up that I wanted to talk about. There was something else. I don't know why I can't remember it or why I didn't write it down. Oh, it was the Derek Brunson, Dricus Duplessis fight. So, yeah, Dricus Duplessis has really been coming through for me. Had some money on him in his past few fights, and that fight against Brad Tavares was fucking crazy. One of the craziest fights I've seen in a while. But the problem here is that after seeing his last fight, his win against Darren Till, excuse me, uh, he should have real bad cardio issues, and I don't know if it's just because he was primarily grappling at the beginning of that fight, or if his cardio really is just that bad. I mean, it seemed to hold up pretty well in the Brad Tavares fight, uh, and well, the thing is that I can't totally count Brunson out here because he has good cardio, 5 round cardio, and he's a very good wrestler. And if he gets Dricus Duplessis down, he's probably going to have him gassed out in a couple rounds and just lay on top of him, for the rest of the fight and win a decision. So, uh, still going to be debating on this one though. I would like to think that Dricus Duplessis knocks him out in the first round. But, him fighting somebody like this, that's really going to tell us how good his wrestling or grappling really is in Duplessis. So he hasn't really fought any really big grapplers, great grapplers. I mean, Darren Till couldn't grapple at all. I'm also looking forward to this Bo Nickel fight right here. 3-0. Fighting Jamie Pickett should be an easy win for him. He'll probably be a giant favorite in that fight. And this one, as soon as you can drop money on Julio Arce here, just load up on him. I'll tell you that right now. Cody Garbrandt's 1-4 in his last 5 fights, and he's lost all of the wins except for one by knockout. Or yeah, he's lost all all the losses by knockout almost. Yeah, his chin's just not holding up anymore. Unfortunately for him, as much as I like him, I had money on Care France whenever that fight went around, and he was dropping down to 125, and he was already having the chin issues, at 135. So there was no way that it was going to get any better for him dropping down to 125. I know Arce lost his last fight, but it was close. Montel Jackson's he's pretty good, but it was a lot closer than I expected it to be. I was a little bit frustrated because I had Montel in a parlay, and I thought he let it be close enough to where Julio actually could have won that fight, even though it was a unanimous decision. Uh, I felt like he kind of let it. He didn't do as good as I thought he would against Arce. Then we got Mario Batista versus Guido Canetti. Guido hits hard, but he beat Chris Matino. I was kind of surprised he beat Randy Costa, but Randy Costa has been getting knocked out by everybody. But most likely, I'll probably have some money on Mario Batista here. Not to go too into anything, but like I said, just trying to get some material out there. Appreciate anybody listening. I'm out, man. Y'all have a good night. Appreciate you for listening.